It was 51 years ago, on 19th July 1969, that the nation heard the news of an unanticipated ordinance that nationalized the entire banking sector of India. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. We will discuss today the bank nationalization case, also known as the R.C. Cooper versus Union of India. So, India at that time was ruled by Indira Gandhi and she represented the Banking Companies Acquisition and Transfer of Undertaking Ordinance 1969 to the public through a radio broadcast. The ordinance ensured unmatched dominance of states' control in the entire banking sector of the nation. Even before the promulgation of the ordinance that the nationalized the bank, the government had tried to establish its monopoly to multiple industrial and commercial sectors of the nation. The government even equated this move as a gesture of socialism. But the intention behind the promulgation of banking ordinance invited severe criticisms. According to Sorabji and Datar in Nani Palkiwala, the courtroom geniuses said the ordinance was a closely guarded secret and at one stroke more than 75% of the banking sector came under state control. The entire paid up capital, all assets and liabilities, contracts and agreements were to vest with the central government. All directors of the 14 nationalized banks would vacate their respective offices, but services of other employees were to continue with the nationalized bank. The most shocking part of the ordinance was the second schedule, which spelled out the compensation that was to be paid. The tricky conditions that determines the compensation under the ordinance acted as a matter of suspicion and disbelief to many. The ordinance had fixed two major conditions for the calculation of compensation, and they are: there must be an agreement to fix the amount of compensation, and in the absence of any such agreement, the central government is under the duty to refer the matter before a tribunal within a period of 3 months from the date on which the central government and the existing bank fail to reach an agreement regarding the amount of compensation. The aspect of compensation and its fixation invited serious criticism. The ordinance prescribed for a typical mode of calculation and distribution of compensation to the aggrieved person. It prescribed that the compensation will be determined through an agreement and shall be distributed in the form of marketable central government securities, and the tenure for such payments will be 10 years. This led to the birth of R.C. Cooper versus Union of India, or the bank nationalization case. So, who was R.C. Cooper? Rustam Kavasji Cooper was born in 18th August 1922, was an accountant as well as a tax practitioner. He acted as a non-executive chairman of the Times of India Group and vice chairman of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan and Indira Red Cross Society. At the time of the promulgation of banking ordinance, he was serving as the director of the Central Bank of India Limited. Also held the shares in other banks, including the Bank of India and Bank of Baroda. He also acted as the general secretary of the Swatantra Party. During mid-70s, he had moved to Singapore and held the position of chairman of Coopers Private Limited. He would also the foremost representative of Zoroastrian faith on the government of Singapore's interreligious organization. Now, the case was unexpected move of the nationalization, which resulted in extreme loss of position and investments for the shareholders of the bank, which were nationalized. R.C. Cooper, as director of the Central Bank of India, approached the apex court by engaging legendary jurist Nani Palkiwala as his counsel. Cooper challenged the validity of Banking Companies Ordinance 1969. He filed the challenge before the court as a shareholder of the bank, which was subsequently nationalized by the ordinance. He had satisfied the court that the primary requirement of locus standi, Cooper took the stand that he has every right to approach the court as the impugned ordinance has stopped his right to receive the profit and dividend of the shares that he held as a shareholder. The impugned ordinance acted a grave violation of his rights to carry on business as the shareholder of the bank contended. The central government, through the Attorney General, opposed his contention by stating that there is no locus standi for Cooper, since a shareholder, depositor, or director was not entitled to approach the court for the violation of the right of a company. The court then accepted the maintainability of the petition filed by Cooper by holding that he was challenging the infringement of his own fundamental rights in the capacity as a shareholder and not the violation of rights of the bank. Subsequently, during the proceedings before the court, the Parliament had given a green signal to the ordinance and created Banking Companies Acquisition and Transfer of Undertakings Act 1969. The other major challenges involved were whether the Parliament possesses adequate competence to promulgate the Banking Companies Acquisition and Transfer of Undertakings Act 1969, the legal rationale behind the compensation scheme as fixed under the Act and its validity, the violation of constitutional provisions, especially the right mentioned under Article 19 and 31 of the Constitution. Nationalization legally sustained. The final outcome of the decision in R.C. Cooper was a partial relief to the government. The court upheld the rights of the government to nationalize the bank. But in full context, the decision never fully favors the government. The court struck down the scheme of the compensation laid under the Act on the ground that the compensation is not provided based on relevant principles. The constitutional provisions under the petition had utilized in establishing his case was under Article 31, which was later repealed by the 44th Amendment 1978. Article 13(1) provides that no property shall be compulsorily acquired or requisite save for a public purpose and save by authority of a law, which provides for acquisition or requisitioning of the property for an amount which may be fixed by such law or which may be determined in accordance with such principles and given in such manner as may be specified in such law, and no law shall be called in question in any court on the ground that the amount so fixed or determined is not adequate, or that the whole or any part of such amount is to be given otherwise than in cash. In the aftermath of R.C. Cooper, the decision 25th Constitutional Amendment Act 1971 came into force, which cut down the right to property under Article 31 and justified the acquisition of private assets and property under the label of public use. The amendment replaced the word compensation under Article 31 with amount, and this favored the government to fix an amount based on their vested agendas. Later, Article 31 itself was repealed by the 44th Constitution Amendment.